Hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week. We are very happy to introduce you to our show titled Speak of Africa. This week, we are celebrating Black History Month. Black History Month. This month is dedicated to the celebration of the achievement of African Americans. When we look at world history, on this show, we've been talking about Africans, African problems. African Americans are part of Africa because they originated from the African continent. Most of you must have heard about slavery. Africans were taken from Africa, especially the West Coast, Ghana, Guinea, Nigeria, and some of those West African countries. And they were taken to the Americas to work in plantations as slaves. This was chattel slavery. Today, these same people who are the sons and great sons of slaves are celebrating their achievements in the Americas. Carter G. Woodson is the founder of the movement titled African History Month. We have critical race theory, which has detractors and supporters. The conservatives in America are against the idea of teaching Black history. We think it's a good idea to teach Black history because just like Jews recognize their Jewish heritage, African Americans have to recognize their African heritage. And that's our position. Let's celebrate Black History Month. Carter J. Woodson wrote a book titled The Miseducation of the Negro. This book talks about the whitewashing of African American history by white folks. White folks do not want to recognize the achievement of African Americans. Whenever you see stuff, they tell you, oh, it's just done by white people. This is because they want to popularize the myth of white supremacy. We have to puncture this myth. Today, I was looking at Target store. Some books were published ostensibly to promote Black History Month. But so many mistakes were made in these books. For example, W.E. Du Bois' picture was presented as the picture of Carter G. Woodson. Then Booker T. Washington was portrayed, but the picture of W.E. Du Bois was placed as the picture of Booker T. Washington. You ask yourself, who wrote these books? These people do not even understand Black history. But why were they writing books on Black history? So this is creating a whole lot of controversy because Target was selling these books and a video was made to criticize the errors that were made in these books. So this is like whitewashing the truth of African history in the Americas. And we're really happy with the protests that led to the removal of these books from the shelves of the Target store in supermarkets all across America. Okay? So when we celebrate Black History Month, we celebrate the achievement of Black people, people of color, people of African descent. When we talk about people of African descent, we talk about people who are still in continental Africa. We talk about people who are in the West Indies, okay? West Indians. Then, of course, we're also talking about African Americans. So it's within this backdrop that we're looking at our story for the show of today. Africa has contributed to world civilization. Some people say, oh no, that's made up history. Africa is the cradle of civilization. That's not made up history. The achievements of Africa are right there, and we have to protect these achievements, okay? So it is against this backdrop that we present to you the show of today. Black history, African history, we have to recognize the achievement of our people. Carter G. Woodson founded this movement. But of course, you have other pioneers like Frederick Douglass, okay? Why are they choosing February as the month for Black History Month? It's because this is the birthday of Frederick Douglass and former President Abraham Lincoln. Why do we talk about Abraham Lincoln? It's because of the Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln was the one who made the decision to free slaves in America, and the so-called the Emancipation Proclamation became very, very popular. Black people became free people. So this is very, very important. Since then, you've had civil rights. Black people have still not been able to achieve parity with their white citizens. So this is not fair. How can we correct this? We can correct this by making sure that African history is taught in schools in America. We have to make sure that African history is taught in universities in America. But the conservatives in America do not want this to happen. They just want to continue to whitewash African history, to make it look as if Africans are inferior to white people, which is a big lie. So for the show of today, we want to debunk the myth of white supremacy and to show that Africans have done a lot to contribute to American civilization. Anglo-Saxons love to talk about what the white people have done. No, let's focus on the truth, what Africans have done. Africans are a race of people who are very smart, and they've done a lot of stuff. Why is it that white people don't want to accept the excellence of black people? What's the problem? And that's why we're bringing this to our show. If we, as black people, can come together, unite, we'll be able to articulate our greatness. We'll be able to achieve greatness. So when we have African problems, we need to remember that we're a great people. We're the progeny of a great heritage. Okay? Let us build from our ancient history to show that it was not something that happened a long time ago. Even today, we can do like the Jews are doing in Israel. So Africans in America, remember the motherland. Do things to help the motherland. Now we're taking you to the news segment of our show. Cameroon, La République du Cameroon. Well, this week, what's the big news in Cameroon? The big news is the 15% increase in the price of petrol. Petrol is a product that people use to fuel their cars, their motorcycles, but there has been a 15% increase. This is a big jump. If this were a free country, there would have been a lot of protests in the streets. But because Cameroon, La République du Cameroon, is a cemetery, the graveyard of poor people, of poverty, nobody dares open their mouth to protest. So the people are just suffering in silence, suffering and smiling, the way Fela Anikulapo used to say. The people in La République du Cameroon have been cowered into dictatorship for over 40 years. They cannot even speak. They are unhappy, but they are just accepting their lot. Because Paul Biya and his henchmen will crush them like ants if they dare speak. In a normal country, when you increase the price of petroleum by 15%, there will be a revolt. How come there's no revolt in La République du Cameroon? Because this is a French plantation, and Biya is making sure that nobody protests. You should understand, during slave trade, a lot of protests were suppressed by the slave masters. Similarly, in La République du Cameroon, a lot of protests are suppressed. The soldiers will stand at different places and tell you not to go out of your house to protest. So they make sure you do not protest. So it's very, very sad. In La République du Cameroon also came out and made the same pronouncement. Cameroon is the graveyard of poverty. You have poor people living in all these mud houses. They cannot complain. Bad roads, dust everywhere. They cannot complain. As I'm enjoying my life in America, I still feel sorry for my people in La République du Cameroon because the people are suffering. Who is going to liberate them? They have to liberate themselves. When things are bad, you have to take the laws into your own hands. And that's the message we're telling Cameroonians. It is enough of Biya's dictatorship. Fight, fight, and fight for your rights. It's up to you. Fight for your rights. Say no to Biya's dictatorship. Okay? Next, we'll leave Cameroon and take you to Kenya. In Kenya, we want to sympathize with our brothers in Kenya. This week, we understand there's been a fire explosion. Gas was exploited. government officials have been receiving money from people who are selling cheap petrol, even though this is not well regulated, but the people were collecting bribes. As a result, there was an accident, and this illicit gasoline burned a lot of buildings to ashes. We have pictures to show you. The president of Kenya, William Ruto, came out and condemned the sale of this illicit gasoline. But this is the way the people make money. Last week, we talked to you about the sale of illicit gasoline in Nigeria. Water is more expensive than gasoline because the people go to the creeks, steal it, then go into the forest, refine it, and sell it all over the place. So at least the poor people can have access to cheap gasoline, right? Exactly. Cameroon used to benefit from this cheap gasoline in Nigeria. There they call it Federal. Federal is the name for cheap gasoline that comes from Nigeria. As we say, the gasoline in Nigeria that is sold around street corners is cheaper than water. Water is more expensive. Can you imagine this? But why is this happening in Cameroon? Well, Cameroonians are going to find more ways to start getting this Federal, this cheap gasoline from Nigeria. So even when the subsidy was removed by Bola Tinubu, Nigerians were not the ones who were clamoring. Cameroonians and other Africans were angry because they're not going to be getting enough cheap oil from Nigeria. Okay? Then we take it to Mali.
Tired of waiting in long lines at the emergency room or your doctor's office? You should be. Why wait in long lines for care? It's time for you to come to Lucille Urgent Care. Real care, no waiting. Lucille Urgent Care, the best place for true and loving care. Service at Lucille Urgent Care is convenient, fast, time efficient, affordable, accessible, transparent, and cost effective. Royal treatment is your right. Indeed, it's not just a privilege or pejorative. Skip the emergency room's long lines, kiss the ER goodbye, say farewell to your old doctor's office, pay less, save time, enjoy the excitement of convenience, receive immediate treatment, get the healthcare you need quickly and affordably. Lucille Urgent Care offers many express services: rapid COVID-19 testing, on-site prescription, preventative lab services, imaging and x-rays, urgent medical treatment for common illnesses and injuries, routine vaccines and flu shots, work-related injury services, pre-employment, occupational, annual, and sports physicals, immigration exams, and much more. Same-day treatment, rapid lab results, extended hours, weekend hours, no appointment necessary, no insurance necessary, no doctor necessary, walk-ins accepted, telemedicine available. We are open 7 days a week with evening and weekend hours. We are located in Maryland, Lucille Urgent Care, 903 Half York Road, Towson, Maryland, 21204. Website, lucilleuc.com. Call at 443-275-1286 or 301-593-4897.
Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. These are three federated states that are coming up in the Sahel region. These three countries have known coups d'etats in the past few months. Now they are fighting in unity against ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. When coups d'etats were staged in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, ECOWAS threatened these countries with sanctions. Now, these three countries have banded together to challenge ECOWAS. They have decided to take their countries out of the membership in ECOWAS. So they don't want to belong to ECOWAS anymore. So what is the future of ECOWAS as a result? This is going to give Bola Tinubu, the current chairman of ECOWAS, to have something to think about. What's the future of ECOWAS? We think ECOWAS is going to become more and more ineffective as an organization. These coup leaders have challenged ECOWAS. They have made it look irrelevant because they are no longer part of ECOWAS, so which means ECOWAS sanctions are meaningless to them. That's what is going to happen. So the three countries are going to start trading among themselves, so ECOWAS will become more and more irrelevant. Other guys who are going to want to organize coups d'etats will want to join the band of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. So ECOWAS will not have any influence. Already, the move by Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso to move out of ECOWAS is having shock effects in ECOWAS. Other countries in ECOWAS are asking, should we renege the sanctions or should we keep the sanctions on? That's the debate the countries in ECOWAS are having. Some people are taking a softer stance, others are taking a hard stance. So what's going to happen? ECOWAS is going to be weakened more and more. From the Sahel region now, we'll take you to Namibia. H. Genhop, the president of Namibia, died today, and they announced the death. He has been suffering from cancer. So since 2014, we understand that he has been suffering from cancer, but today it was announced that he died in a hospital in Windhoek. Namibia is a very important country in Africa. Namibia is a country that's really suffered a lot in the hands of the German colonies. So when we look at the history of Africa today, we take you back to the days of slave trade and our history. Namibia was a German colony, and the Germans did a lot to kill the Hororo people and the Nama people of Namibia. The people fought against the colonialists, but the colonialists had better weapons. As we once told you on this show, whoever has better technology wins in a war. Okay? Whoever has better technology or the support from people with better technology wins in the war. And that's what happened when Namibia was facing German colonies. They fought and eventually they overpowered Namibians. So today, with the death of Haj Hengop, the president, we bring you back so that you can remember the history. This is Black History Month. So we have to make you remember African history. And the African history in Namibia was very, very cruel. It shows you that German people are very bad people. Bad, bad, bad. They kill a lot of Namibians in cold blood. And you can see the skulls of these people. Even today, you have the skulls of Namibians in German centers. But does Namibia remain a friend of Germany? It is for you to think about. We just want to say we condole with the family of the president of Namibia. Now we'll take you to Nigeria.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Nigeria has been doing well in the AFCON, African Football Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles have been doing very, very well. They've qualified for the semifinals, so that's good news. But the bad news is Bola Tinubu is ineffective in dealing with the problem of insecurity. This week, we understand that a former general who has become a traditional ruler in the north was killed by bandits. His wife was kidnapped. So how many more people have to be killed and kidnapped before Bola Tinubu thinks we should do something about insecurity in Nigeria? That's the question most of you are asking me. And I'm taking this question straight to Bola Tinubu. Instead of flying from one European capital to another looking for medical treatment, Bola Tinubu should focus on the job the Nigerians gave him. He looked for the job. He wanted to be president. It's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn. Now it's your turn. They've given you power. So instead of using this power to improve the lives of Nigerians, you're traveling from one place to another seeking medical treatment. So Nigeria is back in the days of Muhammadu Buhari. Instead of having a vigorous young person running Nigeria, Nigeria now is in the hands of another sickling, a guy who cannot sit to run the country. He's spending more time seeking medical treatment. Then why did he fight to become the president of Nigeria? The other day I saw his entourage blocking traffic because the president is going home. Come on. So just because of the pomp of becoming president, that's why he wanted to be president? It's a shame when we have leaders like Bola Tinubu. He started with a lot of promise, but right now we're seeing that he's not doing anything to stem the tide of insecurity. Bandits are taking over. They are brazen. They are bold. Nigeria needs to come up with an effective plan to deal with this insecurity. Bola Tinubu is not doing it. And we challenge Nigerians to hold him into account so that he should do something to solve this problem of insecurity. It's a serious problem that I should take your message to the world and tell them that Bola Tinubu is ineffective in dealing with the security challenges of Nigeria as a nation. The people who are really creating this insecurity are from the north. These are people of Bola Tinubu's religion, Islam. Is it because they come from the same faith that Bola Tinubu is tolerating them? Now, other Nigerians in the south will have to start forming more vigilante groups like the Amotekun so that they can protect themselves. Because kidnapping and killing has become rampant in Nigeria. The people cannot take it anymore. They have gotten up to here. Okay? It is sad. Every week you hear people being killed, people being kidnapped. So if a former army general who is a traditional ruler can be killed like a pig, like chicken, who else is safe in Nigeria? Nobody. Okay? Finally, we take you to Senegal. Senegal was supposed to go to the polls on February 25th. But this morning, we received news that Macky Sall, the president of Senegal, has signed a decree to annul the elections, the presidential elections. First, a few weeks ago, his handpicked Supreme Court guys banned some popular guys like Karim Wade and Ousmane Sonko from running for president. After Macky Sall tried to run for an illegal third term, and the people fought and challenged him not to run, he came and declared, okay, I'm not going to run for a third term. But now he's playing games. Instead of ending his term in February, he's going to continue until maybe August. So he's not going to organize elections anymore in February. Those presidential elections have been moved forward to August 2024. Come on, Macky Sall. You're playing games with the people of Senegal. When people now decide to take this guy down in a coup d'etat, Americans will say, oh no, a democracy, democracy. Where is democracy? Senegal has always had a fairly democratic tradition. That's even how Macky Sall came to power. But since he came to power, he's been fighting unilaterally. One person decides to cancel the election in the country. Ousmane Sonko cannot run. Karim Wade cannot run. Is this democracy? When the people decide now to take him down in a coup d'etat, America will start complaining. France will start complaining. It's because the people are tired of this handpicked kind of rulers. People who are selling their country to the West, like Macky Sall. These are not Democrats. So that's why Africans do not believe in democracy. They realize that it's a foreign concoction that is poured into their throats so that they can drink it, and they don't want to drink it. So this is very, very sad, and we say Black History Month is a time we as Black people should remember our history. We want to be free. We want to end slavery. We want real independence, not flag independence. We want to be able to aspire to greatness. Okay? Independence now.
live demonstration. Call or visit us at alexiahtc.com.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.